All right, back to the question. So let's say, Maureen, if you think back when you first started in this business, I want to sort of focus on, some things that you did. Whether you spent money advertising, well, social media wasn't really happening back then.
Not back then, no.
Could you give me or share with our audience one thing that you did when you first started that did not work and you would never do it again, and one thing that you did that worked and you would still do it again today?
Certainly. Without dwelling on the negative, the one thing that I did when I started was I did some advertising. It was fairly generic advertising. It was in a real estate magazine.
Print media.
Yeah, exactly. And didn't really get any results from that. And afterwards, looking back on it, there wasn't enough of a compelling reason to make someone call me. So I think anytime if you're doing advertising or marketing, there's got to be a really strong reason for someone to pick up the phone or email you or contact you after looking at that. So I found the things that have worked best is when I've done some draws with realtors, for example, and that's something that really works because they know that there's a potential that they're going to get something out of it. So I find that kind of targeted marketing works better than the more sort of generic advertising.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Monique, how about you?
Similar answer. I purchased ad space on those Safeway ad carts.
Very popular a few years back.
Yeah, apparently. But yeah, I was located, my home was close to that Safeway, and I thought, okay, there's a little connection there. This is my neighborhood. These are my neighbors. At the end of the day, it didn't bear any fruit.
You'd be noticed when you walked into the store.
Yeah, no one was going, oh, hi, Monique, can I get your card?
Yeah.
No, none of that happened. Similar to Maureen's response, the direct targeted marketing efforts were most effective for me. I had some, once I had somewhat of an established client base, I did have some customer appreciation events. That was really effective, both from just a goodwill, good feelings with customers, about me, and then also I had a chance to meet some clients that I may not have had a chance to meet when I did their mortgage. And I had some I do still have realtor appreciation events where I have a luncheon or a wine and cheese, and I invite someone from CMHC to come in and give a little market update. I'll invite a law firm to come in and talk about some of the latest kind of hiccups or pitfalls they see at completion, and I'll give a presentation on some of the new kind of mortgage rules or what's going on in the world of mortgages.
Okay.
And that for me has been effective.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, Paul, I remember way back when, remember those little things called rate sheets?
Rate sheets, yes.
Where you would physically, you'd physically go into an office and somebody would put them in the slots.
Or you did it before you could afford somebody to do it for you.
That's
yes.
right. So, when you think back, were those effective?
Back then it helped only to the extent that I would visit a real estate office. You'd be putting them in the boxes. Typically you would see a realtor walk by, you would chit-chat with that individual, and then you would create that bond. So once again, I think it's all about creating a bond.
I don't think the access is there today as it was.
No.
I think there's someone standing guard at the front
a
door.
gatekeeper.
There's a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you recall something that you did do that you still do today?
I started my quarterly newsletters and made them very personable. I put up my recipe, my favorite recipe that I've recently made, and that's always worked well with my clients. In fact, I had one fellow who had every issue that I've ever put out at a meeting once, which was quite cute. But similarly, I would say realtor contests or client contests, client appreciation, anything where you can create more connection with the people that you're working with.
Perfect. How do you, Monique, develop relationships with clients and with lenders? In other words, what practices do you do?
Sure.
I mean, beyond perhaps your appreciation events?
I think basic stuff with my clients, I tend to try and meet them. I think when you meet someone first face to face, there is a better chance of establishing that respect, the confidence, the bond, the loyalty, as opposed to just kind of email. Even when you have the luxury of sending an email over a phone call, I'll always try and make sure that every third or fourth bit of communication I have to get out to a client, I'll just pick up the phone and call them. With clients, you know, I think they want to be heard. They want to have the right questions asked so that they understand or appreciate that their needs are being addressed or understood. You know, educating them about all their options and trying to show them that you're both knowledgeable, but you're also looking out for their best interests, and trying to, you know, with everything you do, I think trying to get that message across. For lenders, I think it's pretty simple with lenders. You know, filling out your application completely, giving them notes that are, you know, comprehensive enough so they know what's going on with your files, so that they're not sitting there going, ugh, this is a dog's breakfast, I don't know what to do with this. When you send in your documents, make sure that you've actually checked them. Like, these little things I think are important. And also, you know, working with lenders, trying to be gracious when you get a decline, that's pretty hard. But you know what, lenders are going to
Respect that.
yeah, they're going to respect it, and then when they can do something, they're more likely to go out on a limb for you. And I think just being friendly, polite, considerate, respectful, all those things that kind of just normal common sense,
Right.
you got to extend that to your lenders as well as your clients.
Okay. Paula, do you see most of your clients in person?
I don't.
Okay.
No. I probably only meet about 10% of my clients. I would like to meet more, but I'm typically the first point of contact, which is either a telephone or FaceTime. I've started to use FaceTime.
Oh, perfect.
So in essence, I guess I'm meeting them to some degree.
All right. And you mentioned that you try and maintain the relationship with the client. Do you do anything specific with lenders in relationships?
With the lenders, we have certain things like our charity. We invite lenders to be part of that. So we do once a month. We make sandwiches for our homeless shelter, and we invite our lender partners. And so we have a relationship on a more
Above and beyond the
just,
underwriting
yeah.
process.
And I think it's also important to understand who your decision makers are with your lenders. So sometimes it's a difficult thing for an underwriter to make a call, but the deal really should be done. And sometimes if you understand who the decision maker is, you can have a conversation with them in advance, so you're not putting the underwriter in a difficult position of saying no and then having their decision overturned. I will never put the underwriter in that position. I'll always make sure that the decision maker has a buy-in to the deal prior to the underwriter seeing it.
All right. Maureen, have you ever sent a pizza a Friday afternoon over to a lender's office to...
I haven't as of yet, but that's a great idea.
Okay.
But I do make sure I have good ongoing relationships with lenders, and yeah, I certainly same thing. Never want to put an underwriter in a difficult situation. I mean, they're human too. So you know, if we get to our heads on a file and we just can't get it resolved, yeah, it's best. Let's get it off their desk. Let's get it escalated up so that I can make sure that I retain that relationship that I've got with the underwriter. And I think always having respect for them and their time. It's kind of those basic things. But sometimes when there's a deal, there's subject removal, emotions get involved. Sometimes those things end up not always being where they should be. So it's just, I think, about having respect.
Have you, do you typically, once a file is done and complete, I know everyone has a different sort of process, do you send something, do something for your clients?
I do, yeah. I always send them just a little package to say thank you. There's a gift card in there for Starbucks. And then what I do is on a memory stick, I put copies of all their relevant documents. So the MLS, the purchase contract, the tax, if I've got some tax information, the mortgage commitment letter.
Or an amortization schedule.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly, all of those things. If they're starting off with monthly payments, I always do an extra schedule to show bi-weekly, because I always encourage people to do that. Kind of like once we've got your mortgage, I pretty quickly shift gears with clients and say, okay, now I want to show you some ways that you can get rid of your mortgage.
Yeah, that's an excellent
I want to
idea.
help you to...
Memory stick. Is it branded?
It is. I want to show you some ways so that you can get it paid off. So I want them to realize that I do help them get the mortgage, but I'm also there afterwards to help them come up with ways that they can get it paid off sooner and save lots of money.
All right. Thanks, ladies. We will now be back in a few seconds.